big hello and a very warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. In focus today is the direct-to-consumer meat and seafood brand Licious, which became India's first unicorn in its space. The company has ambitious plans, from hoping to cross the 1,500 crore mark in revenues by the end of this fiscal to planning an IPO in just a few years. Well, to get a deeper understanding of the company and, of course, this largely unorganized sector, I'm joined by Vivek Gupta, the co-founder of Licious. Lovely to have you on the show, Vivek. Many congratulations on an outstanding journey, Vivek.
Thank you.
And, here we're standing talking about your possible IPO in a few years. So what a journey it's been. But just before I deep dive into the current scenario of the business and the category, just for the benefit of my audience, if you can take me back to 2015, when you and your co-founder decided to plunge into a space which was largely untapped and in a country which believes in going and buying its own meat, and really a ritual which is quite masculine, in its habitat. So what was the confidence that you got to start something like this? That would be great.
Yeah, Sonali, and I am very impressed with the words you have used to define this space, masculine and all. But we all know, right? We think actually India is a vegetarian country. Till even 2015, I never got introduced to the numbers of this sector. The massiveness, the hugeness of this sector in India, and we think India is a vegetarian country. 72% of Indians eat meat. We consume 3 lakh crore worth of meat in a year. And now we all know how this sector is. There is actually no other food which you consume, which is sold in the way meat gets sold. Right. So I don't want to talk about, and I don't have fancy words, like you have used, but that is a state of the sector. And at the end of the day, this is food which is part of our main plate, right? It goes inside our body. So somewhere I think our cultural hypocrisy around accepting meat as our food, has led, I think this sector has not come out of the closet. And that was the only single larger vision me and Abhay had, rather than thinking of whether we'll become unicorn or not become unicorn. If we can put together this sector and, at least ignite this so-called, Andolan, on this sector and bring it out of the closet. I think that is how Licious was born. I don't know whether we have done a good job, but I think we have done a very good start. Today, meat can be imagined in a white color, beautiful looking pack, which is more like a gift. So I think that is how meat can be imagined. So I think that is a good start of the journey.
Right.
And obviously, long way to go.
Yeah. And before we get into when the business really took off, right, I'm sure, there must have been a lot of obstacles in the initial years, because it's such a new concept even for Indians to be, purchasing meat online. So your audience was niche, but even that niche audience was used to sending either, their servants or the male of the family going and buying meat, sourcing meat. So tell me about the initial years of the Licious journey.
Yeah, so, I'll not tell you any stupid story. First 3 years, I think we were just struggling for our own survival. Okay. There are 2-3 problems. One, in India, we never saw single category vertical e-commerces getting built, right? So nobody could imagine that one single category can go online. Will consumer download an app for a single category purchase? So that was one question mark. Okay. Then meat being, because at Licious we were trying to do farming at one end, we were trying to do processing one end, whole logistics supply chain at one end, which is powered by cold chain, and cold chain has a lot of importance in this sector, 0 to 4 degree. Then in the front end, we were trying to bring consumers to online platforms. So we are also online company. And then we are trying to create brand. And obviously many advisors, many supporters in the ecosystem just challenged this thought that a small startup, how will you pull off so many things, so many challenges at one shot? And I don't I actually agree that it was a hard task on hand, but there was no other way to, I think, bring that change in the ecosystem. That this was the only way a meet could have been sorted. And that's the reason we did every single part of the supply chain to build Licious. What we chose is that we will not go wide. We will not go in too many cities too early, and we will go location by location. Even in first 1.5 years, we were not even present in full Bangalore. We only went in some parts of Bangalore and went behind that consumer, brought higher number of orders. So built it more differently, that business, rather than going too wide, go deep. And I think our love of consumers, okay, has brought us here. At any point of time when we were too small, and even today's scale, 85 to 90% of our monthly orders were coming from repeat, which was unheard of in the e-commerce parlance. And I think that is when life made easy. I think 2018 second half of that period is when investors, I think that whole myth got broken, and people started backing us more bullishly.
So I just want to understand from you, I would assume that your big spike and big awareness came in the pandemic, where people had more time. We were not going out, so we had more disposable income. Cooking had become a big hobby for most people who did not even venture into the kitchen. So would it be accurate to say the big spike started, in 2020?
See, I think I will say that pandemic accelerated our growth, but see, this growth came for all online companies in the country, right? It is only not specifically for us, right? And now we have also stories that people who have been able to catch that growth, people have not been able to catch that growth. I think I will give credit to a lot of fundamentals which Licious built early in our life. For example, as a joke, I'll tell you, people learned to wear masks and gloves in pandemic. At Licious, we learned that in 2015, right? In our plants and processings, etc. We learned this. We knew how to create a supply chain which will be the highest food safety gold standard. Okay, and people suddenly started appreciating that gold standard in pandemic. So I think this is one of the fundamentals in our people. And we have a very large team in our backend which works in these processing centers and delivery. We were the ones who actually hire some of these guys in our roles rather than getting them on some contracts. Right, when pandemic happened, because these guys were now having Licious blood in their body, they worked very differently than a contractual or a very different kind of workforce. So that also enabled us to deliver that kind of scale that fast. So my point is, here opportunity hoti hai. How many people hit the six on that ball, which is coming slow, is unique. And I think that is what we were at right time, ready to play that shot.
But, as all pandemic habits, be it wearing a mask, wearing gloves, or sanitizing like a paranoid person, all habits are off now that we have become normal, right? Have you seen a dip in, consumer demand now that things have normalized?
So I'll tell you one very unique number. Post-pandemic, more or less, large part of our growth which we achieved in pandemic, we have been able to maintain that. So those consumers have not left us and gone back to the same old world. Okay, मतलब उस meat में कुछ तो है जो चिपक गया है, right? So that consumer can't get off. I think that is a obviously powerful proposition which Licious had. And the majority part of our business is also being built on word of mouth. Food is a very infectious category where consumers love to talk about, that aaj maine wahan ka biryani khaya hai, or, have you ever tried? I think that is the power of food in India. We are different humans who actually live to eat. And that also we have, because now large millions of consumers consume Licious, right? So so that base will grow, and obviously it will keep exponentially multiplying. So that base has fundamentally shifted.
Right. Let me just talk about, your performance. We've seen that, while, you've reported like a 64.6% jump in your consolidated revenue, and you have stated that you're looking to, hit the 1,500 crore mark in terms of your revenue by hopefully the end of this fiscal, you also suffered a huge loss. And that could be for a variety of reasons. Could you expand on, why you reported such a huge loss, and when do you expect to turn profitable?
Thank you, Shonali, for asking me this question. I was waiting somebody to ask me this question, that how Licious has, reported that much of loss. And actually, somebody should really analyze that P&L and balance sheet. 70% of the loss reported in P&L is actually a virtual loss. It is not a real loss. It is not the loss we have spent on expenses. Okay. This is actually a accounting entry of ESOPs, which is given to our people. So our valuation has risen from $300 million to $1.6 billion in 1 year. Okay. And in accounting parlance, when there is a large part of stocks which are owned by employees, okay, they have to be readjusted to the fair market value of the company. So this is a notional entry. This money doesn't go away from the books. I'm talking about some slightly technical jargon, but out of whatever the loss reported, actually 60-70% losses belongs to that ESOP accounting entry. It is not the money which company is actually spending. Our losses have actually come down by more than 50% in last 6 months. We are looking to become a EBITDA break-even company in next 12 months. Otherwise, how will our IPO happen? At Licious, we have gone and given stocks to people working in back end of our ecosystem. There are meat technicians, hundreds of those. There are delivery heroes. We are the only company in the country who has distributed this stock to 1,000 people in the back end.
Why? Because
I think that those people have built Licious, in true form, and nobody talks about it. There's, somewhere that gap between rich and this bottom of pyramid has to reduce, and that is our first step towards that. At some stage, 2% of Licious we have gone and distributed to that category of humans who have actually true form built this company, and that has impacted the P&L in just some notional entries. So this is a valuation adjustment entries. We should not be worried about all that.
Okay, so let me then talk about the fact that although there might be in India top of the pyramid, middle India, and bottom, in terms of most of our value systems, right? I would say there are several value systems that cut across the rich, the poor, and the middle class. And one of them is we being a price sensitive market. Okay. Yeah. So I'll tell you that, I would say that although today this has become a very crowded space, we have so many people playing, I would say Licious has done a fantastic job in its brand building, in its positioning as a premium meat and seafood positioning brand, no doubt about it. Yeah. Having said that, if you speak to anybody, and I have done this, when you compare prices of, let's say, meat on Licious versus, let's say, the market, there is a big difference. Are you suggesting that today, apart from a very creme de la creme of India, which is willing to pay that premium for meat that is, washed, hygienic, procured well, and packaged well, and it looks beautiful, as opposed to going to the market, what do you think your growth is going to be? Are you suggesting that India is actually willing to spend that premium dollar to buy from players such as you?
Yeah, so, again, I think it's a very interesting question. I'm getting an opportunity to address that, upfront. These percentages actually confuse a lot of people. 1 to 2 is 100% jump, while it is in absolute terms, it is 1 rupee jump, right? Our chicken, let's say, just pick up chicken, and the base cut of the chicken will be 20 or 30 rupees a kg expensive than the market. Okay, I don't know how much it changes between 20 rupees. Will you eat a good quality chicken versus what is available in the bottom of the pyramid? Okay, so in numbers it will look like 20 upon 200 or 10, 20, 30% expensive, but the real game is like 20-30 rupees here and there. But more than this, actually, there is another industry we have forgotten about it. Okay, let me tell you what is the core problem in this industry. See, and we'll pick up chicken as a category. Chicken, it's a large part of our population actually grows chicken, right? The people working in the back end. Okay, but this industry operates on a daily mandi price model. Okay, which will be decided by various factors playing in the market. That farmer, that poor farmer who grows that chicken, who has no clue how that mandi price operates. Okay, that mandi price is called FGLP in technical parlance, will operate between 75 rupees to whatever 110 rupees, and the whole year it will keep going up and down. Okay, do you think cost of production goes up and down? No, cost of production is more or less flat. And that poor farmer is always struggling that if my cost of production is lower than FGLP, I'll make some money. If it is higher than FGLP, I'll lose money. Okay, and that guy is always at the receiving end, working for decades in this industry. Okay, now what Licious has done, okay, we have told that farmer that forget this trade price, and Licious will do a deal with you at a particular price, which is a cost plus, and now you don't worry about price, you worry about quality. Okay, when you take this industry sector away from the daily vagaries of mandi price and talk about quality, okay, then that farmer's tension goes away. He actually creates a very high quality produce. That high quality produce now go through Licious supply chain, which is powered by cold chain and high quality processing ecosystem, and that is when it lands to consumer. Correct? Consumer pays that 20-30 rupees extra for that much better quality. Out of that money, some money Licious keeps, and some money we pass on back in the supply chain to that farmer, right, who now is further incentivized to create a better quality produce. This is how this cycle works, versus the market which is beyond Licious, which doesn't even solve this. There is no quality conversation. And my only request to all of you, and specifically media, this is actually not the price war, it is a quality war. All of us should now start upgrading and eat better. When we'll eat better, we'll be healthier and we'll do better job to the country. This is the game we are playing.
No, agreed, Vivek, agreed. I am not at all denying that, the quality is, you're upgraded the quality. No doubt. Even when you receive a Licious packaging, it is nice to see it because it's not filled with blood. Pieces are good. I'm not denying that, right? But I'm still asking you about how our consumer behavior as a country is. Whether I'm rich, I'm poor, or I'm middle class. What will I choose?
अगर वो कंज्यूमर वो मटन और वो चिकन चूज नहीं कर रहा होता ना सोनाली, ओके, आज मैं और आप बैठ के ये कॉन्वर्सेशन नहीं कर रहे होते. ये कॉन्वर्सेशन 2015 में when we started this conversation happened that how many Indians are there who are ready to pay this premium, okay, and this company will flattened out at after reaching particular scale. Okay, I am still waiting for that day. Okay, we are now having millions of consumers. We are the first consumer D2C unicorn which got built. Tell me in 2015 sitting India's D2C unicorn will be built in a meat sector. Could you ever imagine? फैशन में बना क्या यूनिकॉर्न, जूते में बना क्या यूनिकॉर्न, बना तो मीट में. यहाँ पे कंज्यूमर का लव है. यहाँ पे कंज्यूमर, बाय द वे, जब कंज्यूमर मीट खरीदता है वो 20 रुपए सोच के नहीं खरीदता है. यू वुड हैव हर्ड स्टोरीज व्हेन आवर पेरेंट्स, ग्रैंडफादर्स एंड वर गोइंग अर्ली इन द मॉर्निंग एंड स्टैंड इन द क्यू. मेरे को ऐसा मटन काट के दो, ऐसा ये करके दो, मुझे ऐसे फिश लानी है. एक बंगाली बाबू व्हेन ही buys that हिल्सा, I don't think he worries about कि आज मेरी हिल्सा 20 रुपीज अच्छी है कि 30 रुपीज अच्छी है. आज he thinks कि यार आज हिल्सा बनने वाली है तो मैं काम खत्म करके जल्दी घर जाऊंगा and enjoy with my all senses in the food. This is the category we are talking about. Let us not confuse this category with this conversation of price. And I have not heard, I wear this Licious 24/7, go out, people only find me, hug me कि यार क्या कमाल का प्रोडक्ट बनाया है. Nobody has told me यार विवेक तू 20 रुपए चिकन का दाम कर दे तो मैं कम कर दे तो मैं तेरा मीट खरीदना शुरू कर दूंगा. I have not heard that story. I am still waiting. If it happens, maybe I'll figure out a way to reduce the price also.
Okay, tell me then, if you're saying that, okay, I know you've got like 2 million consumers right now. 3 million? Okay, yeah. 3 million consumers at the moment with Licious. What is your primary target group and where do you see the potential of growth?
Yeah, see, I think over next 3-4 years, we will expand this base to 10 million consumers. That is what we are looking at, with keeping our repeat percentages intact. Majority of our business comes from top 8 cities now. We have added a lot of tier 2 cities in last 1 year. Okay. And some of those cities have done phenomenally well, like Vijayawada, Visakhapatnam, Coimbatore. Those have actually surprised me, Lucknow, Kanpur. So I think this is, if you ask me, am I confident on tier 2, tier 3 India? Answer is jury is out. I'll figure it out over the next 12 months, what are consumers saying about us, etc., etc. But in cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, NCR, we have actually played a very, very reasonable game. Okay. And I think there is a lot of game yet to be played. Let me give you one number, then you can appreciate. Delhi consumes 20,000 crore of meat a year. Wow. Licious does 200 crore of business in Delhi. Okay. Now, in 3 years, I have built a 200 crore business in one city, which is a very good number. Looks okay. But against 20,000 crore, I can build that business for next 100 years and still not get tired, right? That is the opportunity we are sitting with. Okay. So I don't generally, my lens at Licious is only on depth, not width. Width can be in terms of number of products, but not width in number of geographies, because geographies actually add a lot to the cost, right? So, and that is what we do slightly different here.
Right. So Licious, of course, has a large market base in the meat segment, but today you have players such as Big Basket, JioMart, Fresh to Home, Zap Fresh, Amazon, you name it, Meatiago. So what is the competitive edge that Licious will bank on going forward as more and more players enter this market, now that they've seen it is so profitable? Not profitable, but delicious.
Yeah, generally, I think a sector needs a lot of players to change. And, there's one very famous saying, winners come in competition. If I'm running alone, how will I come first? So I think this is not a sector. This is actually a very massive industry. Okay. To change this industry, we need a lot of effort. Okay. We don't only need startups. We actually need traditional players. We need government support. That is when India will come out of this so-called closet of this sector. In terms of product supply chain, I think, and I can proudly say that because I have seen this industry so closely now for 7 years, what Licious has done, okay, I don't think anybody has gone to that depth of quality. For example, people have not talked about human welfare in India, while we have published papers on chicken welfare. Okay. We are the first company in the country who has adopted ESG charter around 18 months ago. We are the first company in the country, and in the top world, we are the top 8 companies who have adopted SA 8000 standard of ESG, for employee welfare, etc. So I'm saying that is how we look at it, that we don't want to acquire this 3 lakh crore in our balance sheet. That is not the intention. We want to be the front runners, torch bearers to bring change in this sector. Me and Abhay has never written a code that we want to be India's largest meat brand. We want to be India's most loved meat brand. That is what is our aspiration. Aspiration is not like tens of billions. Aspiration is just people should love us. That these 2 gentlemen who have brought this change, that makes us happy.
Okay. But, just trying to understand this category and India, would it be accurate to say that among the developing and developed nations, India's meat consumption is the lowest?
Of course, our per capita meat consumption is around 8 kgs. Chicken is the cheapest and the highest source of protein. So obviously, when a country goes through the development curve, consumption of protein goes up, and chicken is related to that. Comparable number is America. Consumption is 112 kg per person per year. We are at 8. China is at 62. Okay. 50 years ago, China was 4 kg. Okay. Can you imagine China as a vegetarian country like India?
No, not at all.
But it was. when China kept this affordability in China kept on going up, when they had to consume more protein, that is when this 4 kg of China became 62 kg. And the same thing will happen in India. It may not become 62, but it will be, many multiple folds from here where we are. So we are actually at the bottom of that curve, and countries like Indonesia, etc., also have very low per capita protein consumption, while their fish production is very high. So they do that. But in India, that is also not true. Fish is consumed in coastal areas and not in middle of India, etc. So that's why this sector is for next 100 years, everything is sorted. Uske baad, I don't know.
So just to understand, I know that you have rapidly expanded in terms of geography as well. Now that you have, understood the mechanisms of the business and you perfected the art of what you're doing, you are expanding. Also, you are expanding in your portfolio offering. Like you've started this plant-based meats. This is something that I don't understand at all as a consumer. So explain to me why you've invested. And, there is it seems to be that this is the next big innovation in this category. And why are you betting on plant-based meats? Indians are not aware of it. And people who are meat eaters look down upon it as a sad, poor cousin. So how do you see this developing?
Honest acceptance, I also look at it like this only. So, but jokes apart, see, I'll tell you, India has a lot of, this whole still hypocrisy embedded in our culture, right? Aaj Mangalwar hai, aaj Thursday hai, aaj I will do this, aaj Navratri hai, Shraddh hai. And there are, meat lovers like me and many more who miss meat every day, right? And I think this plant-based meat in India is for that kind of people on those days, okay? Those days, right? So whereas globally, what has happened is that it has breached the mark, right? Where people have, in US, for example, people have reached 112 kg per year. And, obviously at some stage, meat is, and red meat specifically is not that good for your, health. So people there are moving to little bit plant-based meat more out of guilty and health consciousness. In India, vegetarians have tons of choice of food, right? Whereas US doesn't have any choice of food in vegetarian, right? So US may people are missing that meat taste when they are trying to leave meat. And so that's why it is a very apt product. Now in India, we have this little bit culture of FOMO, something is happening in West and why it is not happening in India. I am turned vegan. I think that is where we have put our offering. When me and Abhay were thinking that, how do we do it? What should be the core thesis of that product design? And between our Desi language, between two brothers, was that यार ऐसा product होना चाहिए कि consumer should not be able to figure it out ये plant based है कि ये chicken based है, right? So it should be that close to a replica of chicken. And today our product actually can pass the test. If I cut our plant-based seekh kebab and chicken seekh kebab and mix it, now you can't figure it out. That is what we have offered. So now don't miss meat on the days when you are not allowed, please. So there is and that is why it is this plant-based offering is called Uncrave. So uncrave your feeling or missing of meat.
Tell me something, you're expanding. I know, and I know you've told me repeatedly that your plan is to go deep, not wide, right? Are you also looking at other neighboring geographies for Licious to make a mark into?
Yeah, not right now. Okay, to be honestly, it was on cards for some time ago, but in COVID, in pandemic, we couldn't actually figure out how do we do it, because Licious is a very deep integrated supply chain business, and I didn't know how to put a supply chain in any other country when I can't even go out of our own country, out of my own home. But right now, being the flavor of the ecosystem, first we will become profitable company, okay, in next 12 months. That is what is the aspiration, and then we will think of investing monies outside India. But in the immediate terms, it is not happening.
Okay, and give me a sense of what we can expect from Licious, in the near term, which will be new and exciting.
Yeah, see, products is our forte. We just love to excite our consumers with newer products, newer ranges. So that will continue to happen. We are now coming up with meat masalas, which is
Yeah.
just getting launched.
Sorry, just stopping you there. I'm glad you brought that up. This masala and spices segment, we've suddenly seen it hotting up. It was a segment with very few players who are, known for their, family business and their masalas. So suddenly you see so many acquisitions, everybody looking at this space. Now we have a meat player who's also looking at masala. What's happening? Why is there so much interest in this segment?
By the way, I didn't know that there is so much of interest in the sector. Okay, so you may not believe me, but we have done more out of passion. See, at Licious, we have built beautiful meat, right? But our job doesn't get over here. Our job is if that meat can be converted into a great dish in the end, right? And we always keep going closer to that. Can we be partner with that woman at home who is cooking and make her life better, easier? And that is one step forward in meat masalas, because see, meat is an indulgence category where consumers like to create recipes, right? And they look forward for accompaniments, which can, so tandoori chicken ke liye kya masala hoga, right? Rather than some generic garam masala dal do, ye dal do, wo dal do. Fish fry ke liye kya masala hoga, and consumers struggle how much masala, what is that real complete blend for that particular recipe. So that is our approach. I don't have any dream to build a mega meat. Now suddenly meat company is becoming a masala company. That is not the intention. Just for our own consumers, making their life much more interesting, and they can play around with our meat masalas, and our meat masalas will be extremely unique, and character will be very unique as compared to what you get in the market. So it will really change the game, the way the packaging has been done. A single use pack, just cut open the sachet, put it in your dish and done with it. So no measurement. So just make it more like, in my terminology called idiot proof cooking. So easy, just easy, and the super on potency, etc., flavors, aromas. The technique which we have used in manufacturing of this masala is called cryogenic, where these masalas are grinded at -0 and -degree temperature, so they don't lose their aromas. So some of those science we have brought to make the, so idea is just to elevate that dish, so that consumers keep falling for Licious as a brand which is known for high quality products. That's it.
Kudos to both of you to have had the courage to tread on, a very unorganized sector, and attempting to up the game in this sector and making it organized. More power to you, and all the best in hitting that 1,500 crore mark by the end of this fiscal.
Thank you, Sonali. And game has just started here. We just started.
Looking forward.
Thank you, Sonali.
Thank you.